You tell the world.
Hi, I'm Johnny. This is Johnny Likes, the show where I talk about movies that I like. And today I'm going to do a list video. Today I'm going to do the top 10 movies about getting highly stressed to watch when you get highly stressed. So these are in no particular order. Some are better than others. I tried to keep these all as light-hearted and not serious as possible. So that's why some of the honorable mentions didn't make the list. First movie, we're going to do Idle Hands. So Idle Hands stars Devon Sawa, Seth Green, Jessica Alba, and Vivica A. Fox. So stereotypical slacker Sawa gets his hand possessed by, I don't know, the devil, a demon, by something. And he has to stop it from killing people. So this is a dark comedy with little bits of horror sprinkled in. It features some wonderful special effects, some absurd actual laugh out loud moments. Comes off like it's trying just a little bit too hard to be hip at some points. I still had quite a good time with it, and I do come back to it every year, a couple of years. Yeah, go check this one out if you haven't seen it, especially if you are nostalgic for some turn of the century stuff. Seth Green was super cool back then, and he was still able to play teenagers, even though he was probably pushing 30 at this point. Next up, we got Half Baked. Yes, this one stars Dave Chappelle with Guillermo Diaz, Jim Brewer, Harlan Williams, with a ton of cameos. Harlan Williams and those other guys I just mentioned are a bunch of friends. Williams goes to jail because he accidentally kills a cop. He gives a diabetic police horse a bunch of candy because he's a good guy, and it counts as killing a police officer. He's in jail. So his friends have to raise bail money to get him out of jail because he doesn't want to be in jail anymore. So this is a goofy, fun, and hilarious look at late 90s New York City. There is tons of cameos and just lots of off-the-wall zany humor. Every time I watch it, I laugh, and I've watched it many, many times throughout the years. It's easily Dave Chappelle's best work outside of the Chappelle Show. It's also full of tons of memorable lines. Yeah, I can't really say the performances are great. I wouldn't say it's a stretch for anybody involved. It's a good time. It's definitely one of the better movies about getting highly stressed. Yeah, these guys are highly stressed. Their buddies in jail, and they're responsible to get them out. Yeah, not too much more to say about that. Next up, we got Grandma's Boy, produced by Happy Madison, and for some reason not starring Adam Sandler. I don't know if he just didn't feel like starring in this one, or if he was just trying to produce stuff that he didn't work on and see if that worked, or what exactly was going on. But it features all like a bunch of his regular players, guys and gals you see pop up in the Happy Madison project, starting as far back as like Billy Madison type thing. Stars Alan Covert and Nick Swardson and Linda Cardellini. What happens? Covert gets booted out of his place because his roommate has been using the money he's been giving as rent on something else entirely. Rob Schneider, nice little cameo, comes and evicts them. So Covert has nowhere to go, so he ends up staying at his grandmother's house. He is a video game tester / programmer in the off time. Antics ensue. He's living with his grandma. She's a stereotypical grandma. This one is interesting because it has a lot of the kind of Sandler tropes. Like if you notice, he seems to think or has like a thing for older women, like with young guys making out or hitting on older women. That's like a running thing throughout a lot of his movies, and it's no exception in this one. Ask Nick Swardson. Of all the movies on the list, this one actually surprised me the most. I was expecting just a dumb movie because it kind of looks that way. But I laughed out loud several times. I watch it fairly often. It has a lot of memorable lines and scenes. Joel David Moore as JP cracks me up every time. His performance is just great. He plays basically like a proto Elon Musk. Like he's trying to be cool, and you'll see what I mean if you watch it. That's kind of my take. I think of Musk as a JP from Grandma's Boy. So it has the tone of a Sandler flick, and it's heartfelt and charming while remaining insistently juvenile. I would easily recommend this if you're into this kind of movie. Next on the list, we got How High. Now, this one stars Method Man and Redman as two unlikely friends who are forced by situations to take a college exam. With help from Method Man's friend from beyond the grave, they are able to ace the exam and get full scholarships into their school of choice. They choose Harvard, so it's a fish out of water story. Classic, tropey. Two guys from the street go to the upper class. They teach them how to have fun. The movie isn't original and features some very overused tropes. But it also has some really funny moments. When the one guy is trying to eat a whole pizza at once, that makes me laugh every time. And when the same character, when he loses his bicycle, that's pretty great. Method Man and Redman are naturals on screen. I would love to have seen them in more stuff together. I'm not sure why acting never really became a thing for them. I expect it was money. Like, I don't think this was a huge hit. Maybe it made its money back, maybe it didn't, but I would love to see a How High 2 with them. They were charming on screen. I definitely watched that. I got a little pitch. You could call it How High 2, even higher. Yeah, it's called How High. If you see the cover of the movie, you're going to see that these guys are definitely getting a higher education, for sure. Like, they're at Harvard, one of the top schools in the world, right? Yeah, good stuff. Would like to see more of it. So, Harold and Kumar go to White Castle. Stars John Cho and Cal Penn as roommates who really want to make their way to Flavor Town. They keep on getting stuck on side quests. And they go, it's one of those wild night movies. They learn a little bit about themselves by the end of the night. Do they make it to White Castle? You gotta watch and find out. So this movie is actually so much funnier than it has any right to be. I was so surprised at how much I liked it. It's got a premise of two friends go get fast food. Like, how good could that be? Well, it turns out pretty darn good. They keep on getting sidetracked. New characters get introduced and come and go, and lots of them are very memorable, and they steal the scenes. There's so many one-liners and funny cameos to count. Neil Patrick Harris is a name I know exclusively from this movie. If he hadn't been in this, I wouldn't know who he was. And he'll always be NPH because of this movie. Well worth a watch. Search it out. The sequels are hit and miss. Not quite as good. Guantanamo Bay has some funny moments. I don't really remember the Christmas one, but this one is definitely worth a watch. Here's an oldie but a goodie. Cheech and Chong, Up in Smoke. Stars Cheech Marin and Tommy Chong. Two friends who go on a road trip from Mexico to LA in a van to get to a battle of the bands. It's just a classic film with many classic moments. Some of it still holds up, however, a lot of it is pretty dated and it's more like a time capsule. Unless you were there, it's not all that relatable. It's still worth the watch just to see where kind of the genre began. And there is lots of funny moments, don't get me wrong. This was made in the 70s, that's like 50 years ago now, which hurts my soul to say, but it's true. So yeah, 50 years, anytime, stuff's going to change. It's going to be a little bit dated. Definitely still worth a watch. Still highly rated. I still check it out. Cheech and Chong have such great chemistry together. Like, it doesn't really matter what the plot is. It's just fun to watch them riff and interact with different characters in different situations. This is probably the best of their films, but they started at the top. Movie number, I can't remember where we're at in the count. Pineapple Express, starring Seth Rogen and James Franco, and Danny McBride. Rogen witnesses a police officer murder somebody. He and Franco, they're on the run, and they're trying to stay alive while trying to catch the bad guys, and they become friends along the way. They're not friends initially. Is this a ridiculous comedy with some good action, or is it a bad action movie with really good comedy? It's hard to tell. I know they tried to do the best of both worlds. I definitely prefer the comedy aspect more than the action. I thought it was better executed. Rogen and Franco have such good chemistry together. It's just so much fun to watch them just pal around and just be goofy. It's really too bad that they had a falling out, and I could see why. If you don't know what happened there, just some quick search engineering, and they'll tell you what went on. So my favorite thing about this movie is Rogan's ridiculous logic. When it actually turns out to be exactly what happens. Like, they're in the woods and they've all got cell phones. And he's going, you gotta throw your cell phone away. They're gonna triangulate us in the woods. And then, I can't remember which one of them chucks their phone, but then the other one just looks and it's like, yeah, no, I'm not gonna actually do that. When the bad guys catch them later, they go, yeah, we were able to triangulate you using your signal from your phone. That happens a couple times in the movie. It just made me chuckle. I thought that was just ingenious. So if there is one Seth Rogen film that I would recommend, yeah, even if you aren't a fan, this one's pretty good. It'd kind of be a tie between this one and This Is the End, honestly, because that one not relying on him so much as this one is him and Franco pretty much exclusively. This is definitely worth a watch, even if you're not a huge Rogen fan. Next up, we got Dude, Where's My Car? Starring Ashton Kutcher and Seann William Scott. So roommates can't find their vehicle after a wild night and have to piece together what happened in order to get their car. This is yet another One Wild Night movie. This one is overall pretty weak, I would say, but Kutcher and Scott have real chemistry together, and it's lots of fun watching them just goof around. It does also have a few really memorable scenes. You'll still hear people say, "and then?" Yeah, that's where this comes from. No, and then. And then. No, and then. The whole scene with their tattoos, that's pretty classic. And when they do the initial, "Where's your car, dude? Dude, where's your car? Dude, where's your car? Where's your car, dude?" Like, it's stupid, but it's fun. It's also got a line that I'm pretty sure I'm the only one who really loves, and I love it an unreasonable amount. And I'm gonna play it for you.
Look, a unicorn!
A unicorn?
Sorry, I guess it was just a regular horse. Weird.
I know you've been...
Yeah, that's the line I'm talking about. I don't know why, but it sticks with me and it makes me chuckle just thinking about it. Whenever I tell it to anybody, they're just kind of look at me kind of like, how can I leave now? But this one makes the list because of just how goofy and lighthearted it is. Next up, we got Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. This one stars Jason Mewes and Kevin Smith. Lots of Kevin Smith regulars, a skew-universe, I guess you'd call it. Jay and Silent Bob find out that the comic book characters that based on them are being made into a movie without their knowledge, and they got to make their way across the country in order to stop this. I'm a big fan of Kevin Smith's, and this is one of my favorites. I know he's hit and miss, and he's kind of lost favor with a lot of fans who came on with Clerks and Dogma. Sure, those are his best works. I really like this movie, and I will always watch anything he puts out. So, yeah, you got a fan with me. Jay and Silent Bob find themselves in unlikely situations with quirky characters as they hitch across the states. Jay going off into Fantasyland always cracks me up. The scene where he talks about the terrorist organization with an interesting acronym cracks me up every time. There's not much more to say. If you're not a fan, if you didn't like Mallrats, you're not gonna like this. But if you did like Smith's other comedies or are just in the mood for a good goofy road movie, give this one a shot. So before I get to the last movie on the list here, I'm going to go over a few honorable mentions, which for whatever reason just didn't make the list. The Big Lebowski. That rug really tied the room together. Classic movie. Love the Coen brothers. Love Jeff Bridges in this. It's great. It just didn't make the list. A little bit too serious in points. Friday. Ice Cube, Chris Tucker, good stuff. Like the sequels as well. Friday the first one though, good stuff. Oh, I mentioned it earlier, but This Is the End. I absolutely love that movie, and it was that one almost made this list. I just didn't want to bump anybody else to include another Seth Rogen movie. I wanted more variety, but that one is Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. They get very highly stressed in that movie, but that one has a little bit too many valleys and not enough peaks for me. A little too depressing at points. And Hot Tub Time Machine 1 and 2. That's another movie, much like Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, where It's got a stupid title and a dumb premise, but I love those movies. Yeah, way funnier than they had any rights to be. So those are my honorable mentions that easily could have made the list. Okay, now for the final movie. Super Trooper, starring the bunch of guys, I'm not going to list them all. The Broken Lizard comedy troupe. A bunch of state troopers in Vermont. What do they have to do? They must band together to keep their jobs and stop a local crime ring and corruption in the authorities. So this one didn't hit me the first time I saw it. I absolutely love the first, kind of the cold opening before the credits. But after that, it just felt like it was trying too hard. But my friends went and saw this movie, and they'd all gotten into the mood. They were quoting it like crazy. I don't know where I was. I was probably at work or something. But I didn't see it with them, and so I had to watch it. And first time I was like, yeah, this is kind of dumb. But then I watched it a bunch more, and all the little funny lines, they grew on me, and all their little shenanigans and antics, it all kind of clicked. It's easily one of my most quoted movies. Like, it's very familiar to me. I think it's great. Pretty underrated, and it definitely didn't make all that much money. Like, it was a super low budget movie, but so it was a success, and it allowed them to make more movies throughout the years, but nothing quite lived up to this one. Yeah, it's just a great low budget and underappreciated comedy. And so that's the end of my list for movies about people who get highly stressed. And if you're highly stressed, you could watch these movies and probably have a good time. I'm Johnny Likes. This is my list. This is just for fun. I hope you guys have a good day. Please comment, like, subscribe. It's quick, easy, relatively painless. Thanks for watching me rant about movies for a while. Tune in next time to see what else Johnny likes.